Hi, my name is Tom. I am a maritime English teacher. I work at the school ship Gan in Stavanger, Norway. I am going to continue today teaching from the textbook English for Mariners by Tony Grice, but the textbook is open sourced and was funded by the Lifelong Learning Program, funded by the EU. I've got a picture of the author, Tony Grice, down there on the right-hand corner. Today we're going to be going on to Unit 4A, Meteorology, looking at the weather types, describing the weather, looking at numbers and symbols. If you would like to, and it's a good idea to have a worksheet in front of you, you can go to where you found this YouTube video and download. I have a link under more info, a link for a worksheet, and you can print that out, or you can download the PowerPoint I'm using here as well from the same area. I have a link for that as well. Okay, we always start out with some research questions. So the idea is not just to pick any old answer, but to use the internet, use a dictionary, whatever you already know, but you need to have a foundation, a basis for your answer. Here we have 5 questions. You're going to have 6 minutes. Here's the questions. Number 1, which of the following is not precipitation? Snow, ice, rain, or sleet? 2, which of the following grades wind speed? Is it the Plimsoll line? Is it the Beaufort scale, Douglas C scale, or the Fujita scale? Number 3, what is the rotation around a large low pressure area called? Is that a cyclone, an anticyclone, a depression, or a front? And 4, what is a hurricane called in Asia? And 5, the sky is blue because of sunlight on dust, nitrogen, oxygen, water vapor, or ozone. 6 minutes, go for it.
Come on, baby, work with me, people. All right, show me love. Great, baby, yeah!
Throw me a frickin' bone here. I'm the boss. Need the info. I want chicken. I want liver. Meow mix, please deliver. Allow myself to introduce myself.
Au contraire, baby. I think you can't resist me.
Get away from me, you dirty fembot!
Why make trillions when we could make billions?
Okay, that was a little Austin Powers with Mike Myers there. Okay, let's look at the answers then to these research questions. The questions have to deal with your knowledge of meteorology. If you can just repeat that word, meteorology. And that means weather. It's a fancy word for weather. So the first question, which of the following is not precipitation? Can you repeat that word as well? Precipitation. One more time. Precipitation. I've got the definition up here in the left-hand upper corner. That again is a meteorological term, and it means anything: rain, snow, sleet, dew, mist that falls from the sky formed by condensation of water vapor in the atmosphere. And then the next question is, well, what is condensation? Well, condensation, the third definition here, to change or cause to change from a gaseous to a liquid or solid state. So, for example, gaseous like a cloud, water gaseous cloud, to a liquid solid state. To rain, or lighter would be mist, dew sitting on the ground, sleet, which is icy rain, snow. So, do you know what the opposite of that then? What happens, or what's it called when sun is shining on a body of water and the water turns into vapor. Do you know what that word is in English? It's evaporate. So that is to change or cause to change from a liquid or solid state to a vapor. Okay, so then which one of these following here is not precipitation? Well, we just said snow is an ice, rain, sleet. So snow falls from the sky, rain falls from the sky, sleet is like an icy rain, ice. Ice does not fall from the sky, so that would not be precipitation. Okay, well, it's important to know these terms condense and evaporate because on some vessels you have machinery or components which are using these principles. On some ocean-going vessels that go for long sea voyages, you have an evaporator, and that's going to be used to produce fresh water from seawater. It's going to evaporate or turn into a gaseous state the water and leaving the salt behind so that you can have fresh water. It's also used in high temp systems when you're using the scavenging heat, when you're scavenging heat from the main engines and using that, for example, to heat the fuel bunkers. You want to have pure fresh water in the scavenging system because of scaling. The same thing in steamships. You want to ensure a high quality of fresh water because any kind of minerals in the water is going to cause some serious scaling inside your pipe system. So that's an evaporator. I have a picture of a freshwater evaporator usually on board a yacht or on a sailing ship. Then also there's a piece of equipment called a condenser. And this is used to cool down the residual steam coming from the main engine exhaust boiler. You're using the main engine to heat water in a boiler, and that water, that heat, the steam being produced in the boiler is used to heat air or used to heat water in accommodation, for example. So any kind of residual steam from that boiler, some systems can just be thrown right up through the funnel, but other ones, the steam is condensed into water and then thrown overboard. And don't forget, the whole refrigeration system and freezing system uses condensers as well. So in provisions on board, in the provision storage, you have coolers and you have freezers, and in order to cool down a space, you have, instead of water, you have freon-based gas, and that gas then absorbs the heat from the air. But that's for a whole other topic. Let's go on to number 2. Which of the following grades wind speed? Is it Plimsoll, Beaufort, Douglas, or Fujita scale? Well, if you know a little bit about maritime information or ship knowledge already, you'll know that it's not the Plimsoll line. The Plimsoll line is here also known as the water line. That's actually to measure how much cargo the ship has at any one time in the different types of waters the ship can be found. You can see TF stands for tropical water, fresh water, tropical salt water. It's different buoyancy depending on the type of water, the salinity that the ship is in. And the Plimsoll, it's called the Plimsoll because this was actually a member of parliament in the late 1800s that fought for having any kind of limit on how much cargo could actually be stored or carried on a vessel. Why? Because so many sailors, so many ships were lost at sea due to overloading. So there was actually a fight that broke out in Parliament trying to get this passed. And finally, Plimsoll got it passed, and now every ship has a water line, but it's known as the Plimsoll line. It's a limit on how much load a ship can have. The Douglas C scale, well, that actually describes the height of waves and swells. It goes from a scale of 0 to 9, from a calm sea to a confused sea. Okay. Fujita scale, well, that actually rates the size of tornadoes, and it goes everywhere from little damage to typically California, blown away is the highest scale for that. But the Beaufort scale we're going to look at in this lesson a little bit later. That is actually judging the wind speed, which creates weather on the seas and waves. Okay, so what is the rotation around a large low pressure area called? That is a cyclone. What's an anticyclone then? A rotation around a large low pressure area is a cyclone. Well, an anticyclone is descending area over a high pressure area, which takes a spiraling motion, clockwise in the northern hemisphere, anti-clockwise in the southern hemisphere. Okay. A depression, well, maybe you're not feeling sad. No, it's an area of low pressure. And if you know anything about weather, high pressure is generally good weather. Low pressure, the air is being sucked into the area, so it creates more condensation and more weather. A front basically is an area between a boundary between two air masses. So for example, you could say a cold front coming in, a section of cold air is moving into an area, or a warm front, an area. And you know, of course, when the cold and the warm mix and meet, you get thunder and lightning. Okay, so what is a hurricane called in Asia? Well, typhoon. And now I went to NOAA, which is sort of like the NASA of America. It's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, just called NOAA. They're the American version of what's known in Britain as the Met, the Meteorological Service, where you get your weather reports in Britain. In America, you get your weather reports, maritime, marine forecasts from NOAA. And NOAA is saying that hurricanes and cyclones and typhoons, that's all the same basic thing, right? We just use different names for these storms in different places. So they're saying in the Atlantic and Northeast Pacific, it's called a hurricane. And the same type of disturbance in the Northwest Pacific is called a typhoon in Asia, right? And cyclones occur in South Pacific, Indian Ocean. So it's all pretty much the same thing. Anticyclone might be a little different. Okay, so the sky is blue because of, and this is like a question that goes back to kids asking, why is the sky blue? Well, it took a little bit of research for me to find it as well. The answer was nitrogen and oxygen, sunlight off of nitrogen and oxygen. And let me just read this for you. The Earth's sky is blue because the air molecules, largely nitrogen and oxygen, are much smaller than the wavelength of light. When light encounters particles much smaller than its wavelength, the scattered intensity is inversely proportional to the fourth power of the wavelength. This is called Rayleigh scattering, and it means that half the wavelength is scattered with 2 times 2 times 4, 16 times more intensity. So that's why the sky appears blue. The blue light is scattered some 16 times more strongly than red light. And that is also why the setting sun appears red. The blue light has been scattered away from the direct sunlight. Well, I hope that makes sense. Let's go on. Well, now, exercises 2 and 3 we're going to take together. You've got 4 pictures here. What I want you to do is use these 4 words above, fog, gale, calm, and icing, to describe these pictures. So just write the words on the picture you think it belongs. Shouldn't be a problem. But then, which phrases below, these are weather terms that we would find in a weather forecast, a marine forecast, what picture do these terms belong to? So what I want you to do is write the number of the picture. You have in the upper left hand 1, and then lower left hand 2, upper right 3, and lower right 4. Just write the number next to the term for which you think it refers to. Okay, 4 minutes, go for it.
All right, let's go, handsome. Come on. Not you, fat Jesus. Slide it on back. You, pretty boy.
You gotta be super smart to count cards, buddy, okay?
Oh, really?
It's not easy.
Okay, well, maybe we should tell that to Rayman, because he practically bankrupted a casino, and he was a retard.
What?
He was a retard.
Retard.
It's funny because he's fat.
Be very quiet. I'm hunting rabbit.
Come on, I ain't got all day.
Okay. So let's take a look at the answers then. Well, number one looks completely calm with the sun going down. So I would say that's calm, yes. Number two, not very calm at all. So I would think B, gale. All right, that refers to the Beaufort scale we're going to look at in just a little bit. And then three, definitely icing. And four, yeah, fog. So now, looking at exercise 3, which phrases also match the pictures? Zero force, that's also referring to the Beaufort scale, which goes from 0 to 12. So I would say 1, yeah. Heavy swell. Well, heavy seas, I would say 2. Yeah, what is a swell? We'll get into later. It's waves basically coming from a weather system from far away, which are traveling long distances. But okay. Now, visibility, if you can repeat that word after me, visibility means how well you can see. So poor visibility, that would refer to either 4 with fog, but it could also in high waves, you could have a lot of sea spray. So 2 with a gale, but that can also, sea spray can also reduce your visibility as well. So that C could have been 2 as well. Freezing conditions, yeah, definitely 3, icing. Fair weather, 1. Calm. Low cloud, well, that's what fog is, right? It's clouds that are on the surface. High seas, definitely 2. Gale, and then gale force winds, 2 again. Flat, calm, that's 1. And then sub-zero, which means below zero temperatures, that would definitely be icing. And dense mist, well, fog, that's dense means very tight, close together. That is actually fog, is mist, which is very thick, so fog. Okay, number 4. Great, let's go on to the next one. Here we're going to have exercises 4 and 5 together. What you're going to do is match the weather A through G here. Thunderstorm, moderately thick fog, freezing drizzle, heavy snow shower, easterly gale, clear sky, and squalls. And you're going to match that with these symbols. Now, if you're wondering what these symbols have to do with anything, when you're out at sea, you can get the latest weather charts through radio fax. Through the radio, they can actually have a facsimile, a picture sent over radio waves. This example up here is from NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which is kind of like NASA, but for weather in America. That's where you go to get your weather forecasts. In Britain, it's called the Met, which is their meteorological service. In Norway, we can also use the Met to get the marine weather forecast for the day. And when you get these charts sent, you have these symbols. And so it's very important as a mariner that you understand what these symbols mean. So you may not have seen these before, but do your best to make a best guess of which of these symbols belong with which of these types of weather up here above. And use a pencil because I'll be giving you the correct answers in about 3 minutes. But then I want you to take these words and put them in these sentences where you think they belong. So just write the words where you believe it belongs. Okay, 3 minutes. Let's do this.
You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. That's the signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Well, doggy.
Be sure to be with us next time for further adventures of Rocky the Flying Squirrel.
all in good time.
All right, so let's look at the answers now. Match the symbols with the weather. Thunderstorm, A, that would be the symbol for 4 here. Thunderstorm, okay? Moderately thick fog, that would be 1, the double lines. Here, freezing drizzle. And we talked about sleet being freezing rain. Well, drizzle is just a small amount of rain. A very light rain is a drizzle. So this freezing drizzle would be sort of like sleet, but just very light sleet. So what is the symbol for that? 6. A freezing drizzle. And then D, heavy snow shower is 5. And then E, easterly gale. Gale again is a strong wind. Not a storm, but a strong wind. Easterly coming from the east. And there you go, number 3. Clear skies, 2. That makes sense. And then squalls. What is a squall? It's the last one we can see here, 7. A squall is a sudden, sharp increase in wind speed, usually associated with active weather. So these are storms that just pop up and go away, such as rain showers, thunderstorms, heavy snow. So they just come upon you really quick and then fade away. So let's look at exercise 5 then, where we're putting the words from exercise 4 down into the spaces in these sentences. Number 1, poor visibility because of, well, I think that would probably be the fog or drizzle. Let's see, moderately thick fog. Good. A what will fall the next 4 hours? Well, it could be rain, drizzle, or snow shower. It's the heavy snow shower will fall. So rain falls, shower falls, drizzle falls. That's the verb that we use with precipitation. Every what produces lightning? Well, I guess a thunderstorm. We talked about cold fronts and warm fronts. Well, when those two meet, usually thunderstorms are producing thunder and lightning. A line of what often follows a tornado? Squalls. Okay, so these small, short storms popping up usually follows a tornado. Expect good weather, warm with a clear sky. Okay, good. And then light rain is going to become freezing drizzle later. I guess it's going to get colder later, and so the rain is going to freeze and become freezing drizzle or sleet, light sleet. A easterly gale will bring rain. Okay, so a strong wind coming from the east is going to bring rain. Great, good job. So let's go on to the next one. Exercise 6, we're going to do a listening. Well, I want you to, on your worksheets, grab a pencil and just write down the words that you hear in these phrases. The numbers, you can either write them out or you can just write the number. Okay, here we go. If you're ready with a pencil or a pen and your worksheets, let's listen.
Level 1, Unit 4A, Vocabulary.
A. Strong southeasterly winds.
Great. So that was A. Strong southeasterly winds. Strong southeasterly winds. Okay. Let's go for B.
B. Severe gale 9. Perhaps storm 10 later.
All right, so B, severe gale 9, perhaps storm 10 later. Severe gale 9, perhaps storm 10 later. Okay, C.
C. Heavy rain or squally showers.
Okay, so heavy rain or squally showers. Heavy rain or squally showers. Squally showers means showers just popping up here and there. Okay, D.
D. Moderate or poor visibility.
Great. So moderate or poor visibility. I just wrote a little Norwegian there for my students. Sikt is visibility. Moderate or poor visibility. Okay, great. E?
E. Stratus with low cloud base below 200 meters.
Stratus with low cloud base below 200 meters. Stratus is a type of cloud with a low cloud base below 200 meters. Okay, great. And then F?
F. Sea traffic can't move because of thick fog.
Again, sea traffic can't move because of thick fog. Sea traffic can't move because of thick fog. Okay, let's see how you did. Here we go. Let's listen to it again.
Level 1, Unit 4A, Vocabulary.
A. Strong southeasterly winds.
B. Severe gale 9. Perhaps storm 10 later.
C. Heavy rain or squally showers.
D. Moderate or poor visibility.
E. Stratus with low cloud base below 200 meters.
F. Sea traffic can't move because of thick fog.
So compare what you have written down and what the answers are up on the screen. Right, let's go to the last bit. I wanted to show you the Beaufort scale. Now the Beaufort scale is used in any case when the British give their weather reports or forecasts, marine forecasts. This is the American version of the Met. It's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. I put a hyperlink on this picture so you can go to it and check it out yourself when you want a marine forecast in the Americans version. The British have the Met Office, and so online, if you were to look at the shipping forecast, for example, where I'm at, Stavanger, Norway, is known as North Utsira. And today, southeasterly gale force 8 expected soon. Oh man, I better batten down the hatches. Increasing severe gale force 9 later. So when they say force 8 and force 9, they're referring to the Beaufort scale. Let's just see here, North Utsira, and here you go. You have the different types of forecasts that are offered. Here I have both the shipping forecast and the gale warning. Right, so the Met, when it gives a shipping forecast, it talks about the wind, and it uses the Beaufort scale in order to refer to the wind, and then it talks about the sea state being rough or very rough seas. We have calm seas, moderate seas, and then rough seas, and the weather being fair, visibility good, well, opposite is poor. And then what is very unique is the Met has its shipping forecasts on British radio every day. And this is an institution of British culture, listening to the shipping forecast. I just wanted to give you a little sample of what it sounds like for today, Sunday, the 15th of February. Here we go. Let's take a little listen.
Philip Avery. Good morning, and the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 05:05 on Sunday, the 15th of February. There are warnings of gales in Viking, North Utsira, South Utsira, Forties, Cromarty, Fisher, Rockall, Malin, Hebrides, Bailey, Fair Isle, Faroes, and South East Iceland. The general synopsis at midnight. Low Iceland 958 moving away northwards. Low northern France 1005 losing its identity. The area forecast for the next 24 hours. Viking, southerly 7 to severe gale 9, occasionally storm 10 in north. Fair, moderate. North at Sierra, south at Sierra, northeast 40s. Southeasterly 7 to severe gale 9. Fair, good. Southwest 40s, Cromarty. Southeasterly veering southerly 6 to gale 8. Rain later, moderate. Forth, Tyne, Dog.
So to be able to understand, it probably sounds like a foreign language to you right now, but to understand the shipping forecasts on British radio, you'd have to know the different areas around which they're referring to, know the terms that we're trying to start to go through right now, but also referring to the Beaufort scale with force whatever. Well, the Beaufort scale starts with force 0, which is completely calm like a mirror. The sea looks like glass. And then going to force 1, just a little bit of wind, just a small bit of ripples. We talk about ripples when you throw a stone into the water. It has ripples coming out. Here, just the wave just has a little bit of ripples on the water. And then force 2, you can see wavelets, small little wavelets coming up. 4 to 6 knots for the wind speed. Height of the seas, hardly anything, maybe a half a foot to a foot. Okay, and then we go up to force 3. Force 3 has large wavelets and crests. The wave tops are starting to break a little bit. So you have just a little bit of called white caps. British, they say white horses. And then Beaufort's force 4, that's getting into small waves. And then you're getting longer, more frequent white horses, or we say white caps as well in American. And then force 5, we're talking about a wind speed of 17 to 21 knots. We're getting wave heights about 2 to 2.5 feet, meters, 6 to 8 feet. And you're getting many more white horses or white caps coming up. And then you have force 6. And this is where the Norwegian, they have cooling comes. When we say in Norwegian liten cooling, that corresponds to the Beaufort force 6. Here we have wave height 3 to 4 meters, and we're starting to have sea spray coming up, affecting visibility. And then we have force 7, what we call a near gale. In Norwegian, we would call that a stiv cooling. So before force 6 we had liten cooling, and then we had stiv cooling, a near gale. Here we have the seas heaping up, we have white foam breaking, wind speed 28 to 33 knots, so it's a good wind going out there. And then force 8, a gale. So when they're referring to in the shipping forecast a gale, force 8, we have high wave heights about 5 to 7 meters, 7.5 meters. And in Norwegian, we call this a gale sterk cooling. And then we go into force 9, what we call a strong gale. There we have some serious wave heights, 7 to 10 meters. You have sea spray coming up, affecting visibility. And then 10, storm. Beaufort force 10, 48 to 55 knots. Very high waves, with waves crest breaking over everywhere. Okay, sea is heavy, shock light, visibility seriously affected. And then we go into 11, a violent storm, exceptionally high waves, medium to small ships may be lost to view behind the waves, sea completely covered with white patches of foam lying along the wind direction. And then the very top we have 12, hurricane, sea completely white with driving spray, visibility very seriously affected, air filled with foam and spray. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Stay tuned for next time. I'll be continuing this chapter with the rest of the exercises. Okay, bye-bye for now.